I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the work session meeting of the Mayor and Council, Monday, October 17, 2016. Adequate notice of this meeting has been made by sending notice on December 18, 2015 to the Ridgewood News and the Record, by positioning on the bulletin board in the lobby of the Borough Hall, and following notice of same with the municipal clerk. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Davis.
Here.
Councilwoman Murphy.
Here.
Councilman Zavaleta.
Here.
Councilman and Leon Young.
Here.
And that's it. Who am I missing?
Ellen.
Yeah, and Councilwoman Steve is absent.
Please have a motion to suspend work session and go into closed session.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Closed session. Two topics tonight. First, litigation 711 update, please.
Councilman Freda is out tonight. Councilman Borreloni is not present at the moment. Councilwoman Steve is out tonight. Councilwoman Davis.
Here.
Councilwoman Murphy.
Here.
Councilman Zavaleta.
Here.
Mayor Young.
Here. I'm going to skip down the agenda and ask that we let Mr. Haggerty make his presentation on his hotel project. Mr. Haggerty, please come to the table. Come on.
Thank you.
If you have enough, if you don't. I'm sure he's prepared. I'd like to tell all our future Eagle Scouts, our borough administrator is that's getting there done. Okay, Mr. Haggerty, the floor is yours.
So if you look at the,
You just want to introduce yourself to the council and just tell them what troop you're with.
my name is Matthew Haggerty. I'm here to present my Eagle Project leadership, my Eagle Scout leadership project proposal to hold.
And you're with troop 2295. Sorry, I want to get that on the record.
So there's a tree farm adjacent to Cherry Hill. If you look at the picture, it kind of shows where it is, and it shows the neighboring cul-de-sac next to it. It's not used to its fullest potential. It's really for replacing the trees that have been damaged around town, and maybe putting in some nice things in like a pocket park or just along the road, maybe, bushes or just something look better. It's overgrown with weeds. There's nowhere to really put anything to help maintain the farm, so it's very neglected. I would like to build a shed in the park. If you look at the picture, there's an arrow drawn. It's not exactly that spot, but anywhere along that more open area in the farm seems like a good spot to put a shed. The shed would be 8 by 4 feet, so 8 feet wide, 4 feet deep. It would be 8 feet tall on one side, and then 6 feet tall on the other, with one slope so that rain would just fall off the edge. If I could get some tools stored in there and the shed built, it would create opportunities for the park to be, or the farm to be, maintained and upkept throughout all seasons. I would also like to put an info board or some sort of plaque material that explains what the park is for and explains what kind of trees and bushes are kept inside. Then something like that could be used for an outdoor classroom with Cherry Hill, so their science class could go outside and learn about what the farm is for, things around town. They could learn about photosynthesis and how the trees grow and that kind of thing. There's a water irrigation system all throughout the entire farm. Some of the emitter heads that put the water into the pots are broken off, or they're just not in, they're not pinned inside, so they're just, some of the plants aren't getting water, some of them are. I would like to replace all of those and fix that to a more permanent solution so that they can keep getting fed water throughout. That's pretty much it. The timeline, I would like to start the shed in November, so probably late November, you know, like one of the last weekends. Maybe like the last weekend of November, first weekend of December, before it gets like really cold, before any snow sort of comes along. So get the shed finished. Then I would like to wait until a little bit of a warmer time, like in March or April, to really start the weeding and renovation of the trees themselves, because after the winter comes through, everything will be dead and it'll be just much easier to pull out. And that would probably take about 5 to 6 days of about a 6-hour workday.
Couple of questions, Matt. Is this going to be a prefabricated structure, or are you building it from scratch?
Yeah.
Will there be, is your father going to help you, or some licensed professional,
Yeah.
making sure that we have proper sizing of beams and proper connections? And it'll be properly bedded on a foundation of gravel or something like that?
Exactly.
Okay. And then the only other issue I would have is orientation with regard to the drainage. We want it, because the slope does go, you know, pretty much towards back, we want to try to mitigate the drainage, so we angle it so the drainage probably runs more towards the side and not either onto the school property or down the hill. I think that would be the only other technical, practical issue I would think should be addressed. Other than that, that's a good idea. And Councilwoman Murphy?
So I just want to say thank you, because I probably planted half of those trees that are in those pots, and it is great to see that. I think we've planted some in our park. We've taken some and put it into the park there, so it has saved some money to, you know, have what the trees that we have here. I know that the beautification was helping out with that. Have you contacted them regarding?
No, I have not. I had a question of who the,
Mr. Negrin had sent the request out to all the various departments.
Are you done?
No, I just, I know that they were, at the last that I know, they were the ones, that were weeding it and,
Okay.
you know, helping care for it. Do you have something else to add?
Yeah, I have two things. First, I haven't heard back from the Department of Public Works, so I would like the location of this shed to be subject to their approval, because they may have established a lane here for heavy equipment or vehicles that we don't want to block. So I'm sure they'll give you a location, but it'll be, you know, to their satisfaction. And then, Mayor, we do have Jennifer Dougherty here from the Shade Tree Commission, who has, the Shade Tree Commission has volunteered to assist with advice and labeling some of the trees and things of that nature. So I just wanted to make that clear as well.
And we haven't heard back from Burke Beautification?
I haven't heard back from any of the committees or departments at this point.
Could you just please maybe send them a reminder, or share with Mr. Hagerty their contact information, because if he wants to get this going, I think tonight, I think the council would be inclined to give you conditional approval to go ahead and not have to come back here again, since we're not going to meet again until November 7th, and we're not having a work session that evening, so.
So I'll make a motion to go ahead with the conditional approval.
Let me ask the council any questions first, please.
I think he's answered them.
No, I do. So first of all, let me tell you that Michelle Caridi, the wife of the former fire chief, Greg Caridi, is head of beautification. And I'm going to contact her. I know that she did get, that she was on the mailing list, but I wanted to hear what you had to say before I talk to her, and I'm the liaison to the beautification committee. Just a concern I have, will power tools be used?
there's not going to be that much cutting, but I would say yes.
So
There
a
will
circular
be.
saw?
Yeah.
And that will be done under some sort of supervision?
Yeah.
Good. I just really don't want this to be marred with fingers being lost or anything like that. Great. I think this is, I love this. This is really great. I'm curious, what inspired you to make this your project?
About 2 years ago, I ran a smaller service project in the same park, I just contacted, Mrs. Cookson in my troop, and she hands out or finds service projects for the scouts to do throughout the town, and, this one just came up. And when I saw the park and the old mayor introduced me to it, I liked the concept, and I thought it was cool, and it was very underutilized. So I fixed about 30 of the pots and plants, but I really want to finish it and make it like a long-term effect.
One of the things I want to tell you, I'm also the liaison to the DPW, and the DPW has hundreds of yards of mulch in our holding yard, our mulch yard. So I know that they would deliver it. We would of course have to speak to Mr. Lynch, our superintendent, and everything else. So after you weed, if you wanted to then put down a bed of mulch to prevent the weeds from growing back, I think that's something we could discuss at a future date. So I wanted to put that thought into your
That
mind,
sounds fantastic.
and I would introduce you to Mr. Lynch. He's a great guy, and I'll make sure that Mrs. Creedy reaches out to you. Matt, if you could, not on the mic, but if you or your dad could give me your home telephone number before you leave, and with your consent, I'm going to give your number to both Mrs. Creedy and the beautification chair, and to Mr. Lynch, our superintendent of public works.
What's your fundraising plan, Matt?
I would like to have a bake sale at St. Peter's, if possible, in River Edge,
Okay.
and hopefully raise enough money to.
And just make sure you let us know so we can publicize it and make sure we all.
Well, with the health
Okay.
department too, you'd have to get, paperwork.
Does anyone have any other questions?
Do you get other kids that help you, or, I mean, you have other scouts that help do this,
Yeah, we
right?
have troops.
Yes.
The troop's gonna be involved.
Yeah, during the workdays, there will be at least 2 or 3 kids from the troop at a time. On the weeding days, much more of the younger scouts who can just sort of do the mindless work. On the building the shed days, it'll probably be kids in high school or old enough to be around the working machine.
I just had one more thing. I know, I believe that there is poison ivy and maybe poison oak. So when you do weed, you need to be fully covered.
Yep.
And just make sure that those who volunteer with you know that they should arrive fully covered.
Okay, anything else?
Thank you very much.
Do we need a motion to approve Mr. Hagerty's
Yeah, we
project?
had
I'll second it. Okay.
second.
First, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Conditioned on meeting with Mr. Lynch on the location.
Thank you guys very much.
This is
Nice
good too. You
presentation.
did that too?
Very nice.
You drew that?
I use the rules.
It's in his jeans. Thank
Matt?
you.
Right, this is my cell phone number and my email address. If you want to send me your telephone number with your parents' names on it today or tomorrow or next day, that'd be great, and then I'll move ahead with that. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Costa. Change order number 1, Van Or Electric, Firehouse number 2, generator box.
Members of the council, members of the public, good evening. Why am I here? Because Mr. Benor, on September 15th, sent me a love letter looking for roughly $10,300 for the generator. I met with Mr. Benor, with the borough administrator, Mr. Memory, and we both asked him, how did you come up with these dollar figures? And then Alan basically asked Mr. Sarlo to look into whether or not they would be legitimate change order items. Looking at it, I said to Alan that day, we could probably go from the bottom up. The gas piping, in my opinion, would be legitimate, because what happened prior to the start of the job, Public Service ran high-pressure gas in the street, and then ultimately ran a new regulator, into the firehouse, unbeknownst to myself or Mr. Benor, because that took place after the bid was awarded. So because of the location of that regulator, because of the high-pressure gas that they put in, that had to be moved, and the internal piping had to be moved. Certainly that would have been an unforeseen event. It was not on the plans because at the time when the plans were done and the bid was sent out, it didn't exist. So there is, my opinion, is legitimacy with that.
For the new regulator, but why repipe existing gas away from the staircase? We didn't know it was near the staircase initially.
No, when they put in the new regulator, they actually put they ran the service line at the location where the stairs were going in for the pad. So all of that had to be moved. Public service was contacted.
So the gas line on the plan was moved from where it was shown on the plan.
It was actually done 2 weeks prior to the start of the job. So it was, I guess public service came in, they tore up.
No, because they did Ackerson, they paved it. We went through it. I was asking, but when you say existing pipe, it's not it's the existing, you're saying that was new, because originally, if it was near the stairs, we would have known that.
It wasn't there.
Okay.
Did not exist. So when
So the
they
previous
redid the
line
gas
was not
line,
there.
They put in a new gas meter and a regulator at the exact location where the stairs and the pedestal were going. So obviously that had to be relocated and moved because you couldn't physically build around it because there was no room there because it's right on the property line.
Okay.
So public service moved the regulator to the corner of the building, and then all of the internal piping to get the gas back in the building had to be redone. So legitimately, he had to hire a plumbing contractor to do that work, which would have been unforeseen. Because it's high-pressure gas at that point, now he needed a larger regulator in order to knock down the pressure going into the new generator. So, yes, that's legit. And then, similarly, where this moved to, because there was some movement of the pad, that comes to the third issue. When Cummins originally gave us the specifications on the generator, the size of the generator was roughly 102 inches out to out. Job went out to bid. The shop drawings came in, and it showed exactly that, 102 inches out to out. He provided another sketch to Mr. Benor, and it was roughly 140 inches out to out. I called up Cummins, I called up Brock Reddy, I said, well, how did the cabinet grow? And he said, well, we don't make the other cabinet anymore. I said, okay. Again, unforeseen. The issue there was now the service for the building would have been in the way, so we had to physically relocate the electrical service. Probably.
How much do they make the cabinet bigger? 40 inches?
38 inches.
Yeah,
40 inches?
probably, yeah.
Really? What size generator is this?
60,
Really?
65, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 65.
So how did it grow?
Look at the
Was
size
there a
of the
reason how?
They don't make that cabinetry. Again, the paperwork, we have it. So at that point, the generator was ordered. In order for that to happen, because of the proximity between the electrical service going into the building and the actual overhang of the cabinet, there was less clearance than 3 feet that's required for public service to read the meter, so that had to be relocated. So I would say those things are legitimate. The change to his service-rated ATS switch, I don't think is a legitimate cost. Similar to what he did in this building, everything was designed to go inside, but for some reason, I've done 2 other jobs with Mr. Benor, the transfer switch always seems to get outside. And I'm sure you've had the same experience, Mayor, with him. So I don't think that's a legitimate charge that he's charging the borough, but certainly, the other ones are they were definitely unforeseen, and they weren't. It's not even a question that we missed it when we did the plans, it didn't exist.
What about relocating the existing service? So, right now, the ATS should be inside. Is that what your plan shows?
I think the relocation of services, again, was a result of Cummins changing the size of the cabinetry. I'm not sure if that would really be an issue for.
Well, he says it's relocating to allow for room for the ATS. So, allow room outside for the ATS?
No, he actually had to move the service because of the actual, he might have wrote that, but that's not why that took place.
Oh, but then those are contradictory statements.
Sorry.
Oh.
Where were you going to put the transfer switch inside?
Inside.
Where?
It was going inside the electrical, the mechanical.
But again, it's fairly large.
Well, but 65, it's not that big.
It's larger because it's an exterior cabin. When you have it internal, it is a little bit smaller.
Well, didn't he order an internal cabin? What were the shop drawings?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. He did not. He did an external cabin,
You're saying that he always does an external one?
always. We just did
So-
one in Leonia, external
Oh,
cabin.
no, we did one in Fort Lee's internal, but he did that one.
This one, if you walk outside in the front of Kenny Crack Road,
Yeah, but this is a big transfer switch. It's a 300-something
Right.
generator. A
But
60,
the
a 60 you could put on, you could.
it started inside, they always wind up outside.
So
Well,
dealing
we
with this guy,
authorized the change.
should you always say, listen, just put it inside, don't give me any of that outside stuff?
Yeah, I guess we should say. But in the meantime, you need to get, this needs to get done also. So not to get into a fight with Mr. Benor. The cabinetry was ordered, the generator was ordered. The fire department basically is in motion to get everything done and work around their schedule. And certainly because of the time frame, we didn't, now, thank God, nothing happened so far this year. But we had an emergency similar to what we had in the past without power.
Did we approve shop drawing that show outside
I
transfer?
gotta look into that. I'm not sure if the shop drawing showed external or internal. I don't know off the top of my head. Because there were more than one shop drawing that took place from Cummins.
Because if we approved it, then we own it. As far as the irrigation,
Not necessarily.
Well-
There's still a cost whether you put it inside or outside. It's not like you buying the switch. The switch was part of the original project.
yes.
The only difference is it would be exterior rated, not interior rated.
And that we shouldn't have to,
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, I don't feel like.
so that $7,000, is $7,000 we shouldn't have to spend.
No. The
And as far as I'd be concerned, the $718 for the bigger, that's Cummins' problem, not ours. That they now are telling us that it's,
Well, it could be Cummins, but we don't have a contract with Cummins. We spec'd out a product. We spec'd out Cummins or equal. He purchased the Cummins products that we requested. It came back to the original shop drawing based on the dimensions of what we drew originally. When he ordered it, it grew in size. And by that growing, you don't have enough room between the wall and the surface.
I'm not disputing that, what I'm
But
saying,
that's really-
but if I saw that on the shop drawing, then I would say, you know what, let's go to Generac or somebody else and see if they have a generator that fits. He had the opportunity to do it
But at
equivalent.
that point, the old generator is gone.
Mhm.
The pad is gone, the side of the building was torn off, and he ordered that generator, and then that's when I got involved with Cummins, and Cummins said, we just don't make that cabinetry anymore. So at that point, what do you, if you turn it into stop everything, now you have to fire a house without any emergency backup, which, again, could you rig something and bring a trail and mount the generator in? Absolutely. But what's the cost of doing that? I mean, maybe I made an executive decision, maybe not a great one, but I certainly made a decision, and the
What
generator
was the
is
total
there.
amount of this contract?
About $83,000, something like that.
Is that including the 10? Or that's
No,
before?
This is new.
We're going to 12% increase. Yes,
So-
Councilman.
So let me,
Kathleen had a, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So, you know, just for my own layperson knowledge, was this 102 cabinet? It no longer is being made. Is that something that companies that deal with these things should know? That we can't get this, you know, going forward?
Cummins provides once you make the determination of what size you need, they send their original drawings and shop drawings to us. And based on those dimensions, we design the size of the pad for the facility. And that's what we did. Then prior to him starting the job, he requested from Cummins actual shop drawings, which he did, came to the office, they were approved, and now we authorized him to go to work. From that point to when he ordered the generator, prior to the generator coming in, Cummins sent him another specification to actually build the pad. And it was a Friday afternoon, the contractor called me, he goes, your plans are wrong. I said, what are you talking about? The dimensions don't match. So now we took the file, we looked at our plans, we looked at the dimensions of the original sign-off, and then the paperwork that he got just prior to the generator being delivered to the job site, and there were two different sizes. That's when I called Cummins. Cummins said, we no longer make that cabinetry for this.
So now Cummins should tell everybody, listen, can't get it anymore. Don't even bother coming in with a drawing that cannot meet this.
But again, they provide us that information. Why it took place, I guess we could get Rock Ready in here to let him explain.
I'm
but
sure they just changed something with the model, or that's not the point. The point is, though, if they had given Venor his cost based on what they said they were gonna provide, if they had given us those dimensions based on what they said they were gonna provide, that's fine, I don't care if they change it, but now we're encumbering, I'd say it's minor, $718, but that's because basically that they decided to change the size of their cabinet.
Correct.
That aside, what is your ultimate recommendation here
My
tonight?
recommendation, I think what's fair, and again, anything that had to do with the public service and the relocation of gas, I think those are legitimate change orders. The irrigation system, because some things moved around, we did have to move some of the irrigation at $700. I believe that's a legitimate price. The relocation of the service, and again, even though he said to allow room for the ATS, that's really not why he moved the service. Because when the generator actually, the size of the cabinetry expanded, you physically couldn't get between that and the building where the electric meter was. So we had to relocate.
But again, is that an artifact of the service or an artifact of the bigger cabinet again?
the cabinet.
Again, so, and
But I
now,
don't think
so,
I don't think the cabinet goes back, I don't think it's Mr. Benor's fault that Cummins at the 23rd hour said, we can't provide you with this.
but it's not our fault.
You don't understand some of this?
Because it said it's 2,100, and so, $2,800 is because of Cummins not providing what they specified.
Well, you can't, see, we don't have a contract with Cummins. So we would have to say to Mr. Benor, thank you for coming, we feel this and this and this is legit, everything else is not. And let him
Right.
do what he needs to do.
But this is where I wanted clarification. Which of these charges do you not feel is legit? Is it 2,100, the
first-
the 5,000?
No, just the second one.
I think the second one, I mean, the first one,
Because that's what I was here, I thought you heard you saying. So you're really just saying, change ATS to service rate type, 5,160, you don't feel that's
I do
legit,
not.
but you feel all the rest are legit.
I do.
Okay, I understand now, thank you.
Quite frankly, and I understand your feelings, but I think we have no, again, maybe Tom could weigh in, we have no contract with Cummins. I'm not sure how we would get any relief.
If they sent us a shop drawing showing the original dimensions, they're at fault.
They are, but we have no, we would have to take it from Venor, and Venor would have to then fight with Cummins, or this would turn into some sort of litigation. But I don't think we could physically, I don't think the borough could go back to Cummins.
No, I'm not saying, but I'm saying that this is, if we decided we did not want to accept this change order, then that's where he has to go with it.
Well, if you don't accept the change order,
And I'm still not clear, are we putting it inside or outside?
It's outside.
oh, it's there already. Everything's there.
It's huge.
So was it signed off on though? I mean, did he notify you before he put it in that there was a change? Before you said,
Again,
I had to make,
now we're doing, so actually, now we're gonna be.
you made a decision, I think you said you had to make a
I
decision.
absolutely have,
Yeah.
I made a decision.
So I think you can move in.
I
Look,
definitely made a
we had no
decision.
choice.
We had to make a decision because of the gas. So what triggered this, the size of the cabinetry moved, gas main is in the way, the old generator is gone on a skid, heading towards somewhere, and a decision had to be made. Alan, I believe you were there that day, we called in public service immediately, public service came down, they said they'll be there on a Monday morning, this was a Friday, we will relocate the gas line that's in the way immediately, which they did, and then that had to be repiped. But because of all of those things, it was done
The generator was being delivered.
It was being delivered, it was done,
Then why didn't we start up this way? Because now we wasted 15 minutes talking about something that we can't change.
Well,
And then if it's service rated already and it's there, then how do you not pay for it?
yeah, I have a note here that says, no breaker outside had service rated.
So how are you gonna do it? You're gonna make him take it out now? I mean, it's done. It's done.
I have one,
Well, no, it's done.
I have one question
He
here.
no matter what, he has to put a transfer switch
You
in.
just said it was in.
Right, but it's on the outside. He's looking
Yes.
for an extra because it's on the outside of the building. In my opinion, he had to put it on the inside. He elected to put it on the outside. I don't think there should be an additional cost.
But he had to
That's
put,
part
he
of
had to
his
put an
rate.
outdoor rated switch,
that's
and we
his-
let him do it.
That's his choice.
But we let him do it.
Well, we didn't authorize him to do it.
He can put it inside, he can put it on the inside, though, because of the box, it had to go on the outside.
No, I don't know if I could go on the outside. It was ordered at that point and there.
I have one other point.
Yeah.
I'd like to make. At the meeting, I asked you to take a look at your redesign of the pad,
Right.
which you did to try and offset the cost of the larger cabinet,
Correct.
and make sure it was cost neutral to the borough.
Correct.
Right. Have you done that yet?
I did. I had a conversation with him a couple days ago.
And how much of an offset would
His
that be
offset,
to this
he
5,000?
goes, he would take 1,000 off of this bill. I said, certainly, that offset doesn't come back to what I feel the offset is. And around we went.
So that could be a negotiable point on the 5,160.
No question, no doubt about it.
So, Mayor, what I'm saying is that if you're inclined to go with the four others, let Rob negotiate this last one, this 5,160, and come to some agreement, whether you split the difference because of the redesign of the pad, whether you look at, here are the costs inside and here's your actual costs outside, come to some agreement, and let's finish this up and file our paperwork and get our FEMA money back.
Okay. Is someone with a motion?
I'll make a motion for that.
So we're gonna approve item number 1, 2,100, item
Three.
number 3, 718.59, item number 4, 850, item 5, 1,470. And we're gonna hold the other one in abeyance, subject to further negotiation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you have that amount?
Yes, I have it.
Is that what the resolution's on for?
3859.
No,
5,160.
I'm gonna see, 138, let's see if the resolution's on. Here, we have it, number 16384. We can table that tonight and put
Well,
it
we gotta
off to
approve the
November
other,
meeting.
if you want to, so you said you want to approve the other 4, we can,
It's taken so long already.
We can do that, yeah, we can do that, and we can just
because
put
there
the
is
new one on.
good faith on the.
All right, let me give you the amounts.
Yeah, the new total is $5,138.59.
Sure, Tom is right. 5,138.59.
So I'll make the motion.
Mayor,
Go ahead, you know.
Is there a second? Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's passed. Thank you.
Okay, so, just so I'm clear, you want me to prepare a change order for those 4 items?
We're approving those 4 for that amount.
Approved.
And the
Give me
5th
a
item,
change
you're
order
going
on
to
that.
negotiate with
We
Mr.
have a resolution on tonight to approve it.
Fine, I will give him the good news, and then I'll give him the bad news tomorrow. And then he can go wherever he'd like to go on the balance. This way, Alan, we can finalize this.
Well, you gotta resolve this last item with him. Either, you're supposed to negotiate, first come up with your costs, and see if you can negotiate that $5,000.
On the 5,000. It's 0.
Right.
That's the negotiation. There is no negotiation. There's no
If we owed your offsets equal that amount, then tell them that.
And that's what we're gonna prepare. Very good, thank you. Now, tell him he needs to finalize everything and give us the keys, so we can get into the cabinetry.
Yeah, we need the,
would be nice.
manuals.
Maybe you hold the keys.
We'll come,
It's,
we'll come up and do training and everything too, right? So, that usually done with them.
Apparently, this took place without anybody's knowledge.
The training?
I guess they turned it on, they did the load test, but
Yeah.
no one was notified.
Then it doesn't count. We didn't,
I understand that you understand, but this is why it's a little frustrating.
that was one issue, we didn't have a problem on this generator with the training, all that went pretty well.
That was maybe the only thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before you run, I want to thank you for responding to the tree complaint with regard to the block grant ramp that was installed on Tenny
It's a
Avenue.
good letter.
So,
It was so good that I got an email response already and a text message. So tomorrow morning, I'm probably gonna have my wife start my car prior to me leaving.
so we'll see if the tree gets removed, by him. We'll give him some
And we
time.
also went to the bonding company.
Yeah, I saw the CC for the bonding.
Yes,
That's always a little bit push.
right, yeah, probably, the tree might be down already as far as I know.
It's not, but the people will be happy to know that.
Well, we're emotional,
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, there's no sense talking anymore, and I think this is the best business we should be doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Okay, there are no borough administrators topics this evening. We do not have any work session consent agenda. I don't have a report right now, and this comments at the end of the meeting. Unfinished business, anybody would like to discuss any of those issues on the agenda? Unfinished. If not, new business?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, as we all know, Kevin Wright passed away, and it's a big loss to the town, the Historical Society. And I was in contact with Senator Weinberg, and I mentioned that the possibility, if it was possible, to rename the little street that's in front of the Steuben House. So I believe that Alan said he pulled some old resolutions, and he said that that street was vacated, and now it's up to the state. So she says that she would be happy to write a letter to the state, moving that forward.
It's not a street anymore. If it's vacated, it's private property. There's also the other issue that I'm not sure it was all fully vacated anyway. There's some contradictory information on the tax maps.
Mhm.
The other part is that if the widening of Hackensack Avenue ever comes to fruition the way the county envisions it, that section of Main Street gets vacated anyway also.
Mhm.
It won't exist. So it would be a driveway or an entrance into the park. I think that's a good idea. I have talked to them, but I've also talked to Jim Smith, who's the chairman of the Bergen County Historical Commission, as well as our River Edge Historical Commission. I haven't had a chance to speak with Ms. Powell yet, Kevin's wife. They want to be coordinated in however the borough chooses to honor Mr. Wright. That's certainly one thing we would certainly want to entertain. I think they have other ideas that they would like us to consider, so I think until we get some feedback from them, it's their property. He was their champion. He certainly was a champion for the borough. I think we all should prefer to let them at least take part of the lead, and if there's something we can do in addition, I think, I'm sure there'll be unanimous consent to do that,
Mhm.
so.
So I just wanted to put it out there that,
You already asked her to speak to them, then?
It doesn't, no, there's no state, there's no
Well,
streets
that's my
for them
point, we
to-
look stupid.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
just an
if
idea
Ms. Wein,
going
if,
forward,
I
you
would
know.
respectfully
You said you
suggest,
spoke to her, that's why
I know,
was
but I would
thinking,
respectfully
yeah.
suggest what the
No,
senator
yeah.
can be very effective doing, if she has the ability, is to get the funding through DEP to give them the several $100,000s a year that they're entitled to. And that would be much more beneficial than you know, certainly would be an honor to name the street after him, but I think Kevin would be more thrilled knowing that he got the funding, because that's something I spoke to him as recently as 2 weeks ago about, and we were talking about it. And we're a little disappointed in a lot of our state officials that we can't seem to get that money shaken loose. And that goes to different levels of government and both sides of the aisle. There's no fingers being pointed at anybody in specific. So I think if she's got, this is the time, if
Yeah.
there's some goodwill and some sympathy engendered for Kevin in his memory, I think that would be the most promising
Yeah.
legacy for him.
because that was his biggest frustration.
Yes, and believe me, we have another meeting coming up with PSE&G regarding their property, and I've been involved with them with some of the meetings on their preliminary plans for their museum. So things are moving very forward, and it's just, it's, you know, I'll say this at the 8 o'clock hour, it's just really, really sad to me personally that he didn't get to see a lot of these things come to fruition. But at least I think he was hopeful the last time we had met that he saw progress for the first time in a long time, so I think, you know, us moving the whole project forward and getting towards his goal, I think that's the best way to honor his memory. Aside from other things which you rightly should do. So I do appreciate the suggestion, and we'll certainly work something in that regard.
We'll be asking DPW to post the bunting on Borough Hall.
Yes, nice. Well, speaking of that, I have a question about who maintains our flags at Borough Hall and in the parks? Because, because it's been happened several times where we get notices about mandatory lowering to half staff or, you know, important personages or an event, and I see that schools get lowered, and I see the firehouse gets lowered, and one time on a weekend I called, actually, Neil Carroll, and he'd gotten one police officers to lower, I think it was for 9/11. It wasn't half mast, so we need to be a little more responsive. I mean, I'm on an email that comes when the flags have to be lowered at the direction of the president or the governor, who by law are the only two people authorized to lower the flags, they have staff. Despite what people think, the mayor or council has no authority to lower the
The
United
flag
States
was
flag.
lowered down at Student House. Is that for
That's
your
on their
direction?
own. No, I have no authority, we have no authority to do it. I certainly would if we could, and I think people do it, it's not enforced, but under the statute, only the president and the governor have that authority. They say what towns should do, and something I would also look into is we should have a river edge flag, which we don't seem to have anywhere, with our borough seal on it, and that would be something we could, yeah, I mean, go outside, have one made where you can lower, you know, the town flag in honor of somebody local. You know, as a
Is it
sign of
that
respect.
the flag wasn't lowered after a request was made by DP?
No, I don't know
DPW?
if there's any coordination with them or whether they even
Yeah,
get those
I
emails.
think it's probably a communication
Yes,
issue because
and I
they're
think
very
that-
common.
No, I'm not saying that they didn't do it. I'm
Yeah.
saying that they may not be aware, or, I mean, because when somebody had asked me at one point to do it for some specific reason, and I looked into it, and I was told, no, you know, the mayor cannot order that.
Yeah,
And
no,
then
no,
I got onto a mailing list put out by the, I don't know what department, I can get it for everybody if they want to. And periodic, you'll get it, you know, like when former Prime Minister Roosevelt died, flags were mandated to be lowered from that day till Friday. And there's other events, 9/11 was the one, you know, sometimes they do it for other, you know, important personages.
James Gandolfini.
If the governor if the
He
governor
did.
directs it, yes, but there's a protocol and a process to it, and we just want to make sure that we do it, because it's unusual for someone said, you know, I see the firehouse did it, how come the front door hole was? So that's what the disconnect comes from. So I'm sure we can establish a protocol to make sure that gets addressed. And obviously, there's a protocol for borough official guys, bunting, and whatever else we need to put out a sign of mourning and respect. Any other new business? Yes, Councilman.
Yeah, I just want to throw it out there, we've had some discussion in the past, but maybe to revisit it, reworking our meeting schedule. A lot of times, tonight's not one of them, it's a bad example, but I think a lot of times with the work session, I think we shortchange it within that just hour, and I wanted to see if there was any support for perhaps making the first meeting of every month just work session, and the second meeting a work session and a regular session, so that we could really maybe dive into issues a little bit more in depth than the time constraints sometimes give us.
Well, you know, that's something you and I have talked
Yeah.
about in the past, and I agree with the concept. I think that it would give our subcommittees and ad hoc committees time to actually force them to have time to meet, whether it's community center or whatever subcommittee we have, finance, at least then you know you at least have a dedicated time to do it. I think I would certainly wait till after the election. So
Yeah,
whoever-
this is-
how it may be affecting whoever's coming on board.
This will be going into the new year.
Yes, and I think we also have to look at the days and the dates. I spoke to, I happened to run into Rabbi Jacobson yesterday at River Day, who thanked me again for us changing the date to accommodate Rosh Hashanah. And I did mention that, Councilman Murphy mentioned also that our last meeting was on that first night of Rosh Hashanah, and we shouldn't conflict with that either if we can avoid it. So I asked him to make sure that we get a copy of their holy day schedule for 2017. We'll get the school calendar, so we try to plan the schedule accordingly and minimize any conflicts that come up. The other thing that I mentioned at one time, I don't know if you were here, it also seems like we have a lot of Tuesday meetings because of Monday holidays, so that's something we'll address also. I think that we can talk about that after the election and before reorg. And I think just, I support some kind of change, and the rest of the council can certainly weigh in if they have an opinion.
I mean, I think we're just going to be dealing with some maybe large issues as we really focus in on the community center. We focus in on, once the COA is, however that comes down may require a lot of our time. If we delve into redevelopment, I think these are all issues that, are going to require a lot of time that you can't get in an hour. Plus, I think sometimes if you just sat here and you talked about some issues and gave it a little bit more time, you might, we're supposed to be a deliberative body. So to an extent, sometimes we need time to deliberate. And I think if we had just had one where it was, more open, we might be able to have
even
that
our
time that we need.
codification committee, which sort of
Yeah.
started, but then it falters because it's hard to get people consistently together to, at least then if you had something like that, you can even just dedicate, we're gonna spend 20 minutes tonight on this section of an ordinance or whatever, so I think it's something that's worth considering. Yes, Councilwoman?
This is old or new business.
Oh, we're still talking about,
I'm done.
any more comments on the schedule or anything like that?
I would,
Yes.
I think this is a very, very good idea. I think, but I do think this is something that we have to, first of all, talk to our BA about, make sure that, because now we'd be only having one regular meeting, and that would slow down the movement of ordinances. Ordinances would now take 2 months
That
instead
is,
of
but
1 month, which is not necessarily a bad idea, but we want to, and I think this is a good, but I think this is a very good idea. Also, would this require us to change our bylaws?
It would.
Yeah, that's what
we'll
I'm
modify it, yes.
You would have to modify.
You're adopting them you're adopting them every January, so
And
we'd adopt them
So
every with
we want to maybe look at the other aspects of
and
the
I-
bylaws to see if we want to tweak them too. So I agree with this wholeheartedly, and I think this is something worthwhile talking about after the election.
I think that, to your point, we may want to consider having 2 public meetings, maybe in January, February, when we have budget season, when we do have more ordinances that we need to go through, and that's something we can certainly coordinate with Alan. But truth be told, we had 1 meeting in June, we had 1 in July, we had 1 in August, and we're having 1 in November. So,
Yeah, that's why I don't
out of
think
the year, we're at 1 anyway, and so I think it's something we probably can look to do. We'll certainly address it before reorganization. Yes, Councilwoman? We're on new business.
Oh, one last thing too, and I apologize, Councilwoman. Another thing that we should just be mindful of if we, when we talk about this is, we may want to put in language that says we can have 2 official meetings, or maybe we hold one, because if we have hirings of police officers, that we tend to say, well, we only have 1 meeting in August, well, maybe we need to have 2, and we need to make this seem not so much an extraordinary thing, but, and maybe put some language in the bylaws about that. I apologize.
Good idea.
This is in reference to the zoning secretary. Do you have an update about the status of the zoning secretary?
Have we heard back from, okay, we're waiting to get someone in who's going to listen to the outstanding minutes, meetings and create minutes from that. And then I believe Alan and Stephanie have been working on identifying candidates to take that position.
Because
And has not come before personnel at this point.
I believe Mr. Barrett brought in his own recording secretary, so that you can get minutes from that because there was nobody here. So he's got 2 sessions recorded. But is there any timeline when this is gonna happen? Because they're getting very frustrated with not having any minutes or anyone recording them or anything.
Well, they can designate their own board secretary as an emergency to take the minutes. I mean, you don't need somebody outside to do it. In an emergency, that's what we've done at the planning board. It's not like,
Well, just for the minutes for the public as well,
yes,
you know.
but
there's-
that's what I'm saying, each board can be proactive if they need to.
Well, I think Mr. Esposito is the secretary that has been designated. But,
You know, the meetings are recorded, or they should be being recorded, so there is a verbatim recording of the meeting electronically.
just seems that they're very frustrated that there's, you know, she's gone and there's nobody else, so. And I just had a question too about the community center. Is there any update about that? Community center?
No. Nothing
No
changed
update?
last time, no.
Not right now.
That's it.
Yeah, no, that's the email. Yeah. Yeah, I think the response was
Well, I
council.
think that's a different an issue, and if anyone wants to discuss it, we have 10 more minutes in work session.
What's that?
About shade tree at 140 Kingston Drive, or something?
No, response came in from Reggie.
Oh.
So,
Sounds like the same story. Anyway. Any other new business? Seeing none, can I please have a motion open to the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Would anybody from the public like to make a comment, question, recite a poem, whatever you want to do? No? Come on. Ms. Rudis, no? Okay. And motion to close the close the hearing to the public, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else? If not, can I have a motion to adjourn work session?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the Mayor and Council, Monday, October 17, 2016. The time is 8 p.m. Can I please ask everyone to please rise for a moment of silent prayer? And tonight I ask everyone to remember our borough historian, Kevin Wright, a true scholar gentleman whose passion for the history of River Edge and making sure that we understand the unique and consequential role our town played in the development of this nation is a legacy that we'll always remember and we'll always try to advance. So please remember Kevin this evening. Councilwoman Davis, please lead us in salute to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been made by sending notice on December 18, 2015 to the Ridgewood News and the Record, by positioning on the bulletin board in the lobby of the Borough Hall and following a notice of the same with the municipal clerk. I'd like to remind all members of the public that we have 3 fire exits in our council chambers, 1 on each side of the dais and 1 in the rear. In addition, we are being recorded by both audio and video for purposes of creating a record during the public portion of the meeting. If any member of the public wishes to be recorded or heard, they need only identify themselves for the record, and they may make a statement or ask any question they would like. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Davis is absent tonight, along with Councilwoman Dees, Councilman Bartoloni.
Here.
Councilwoman Davis.
Here.
Councilwoman Murphy.
Here.
Councilman Baccaleo.
Here.
Mayor Leon.
Here. Can I please have a motion to approve the minutes of the Mayor and Council work session and regular meeting of October 3rd, 2016?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
We'll let the chimes end and then we'll... Thank you. Mr. Young, please come forward with your team. Mr. Young is the owner of JS Taekwondo Center in River Edge. And tonight he has brought us 4 members of his Team Tiger athletes, and we're celebrating their victory in the 2016 USA Taekwondo National Championships in Richmond, Virginia, from July 4th to July 10, 2016. So we have significance of recognition for each of the members, and on top of that, June, please come forward. June won a gold medal, and we're here also to recognize him specifically for that. So congratulations, good job. Congratulations to you. Aiden, is it Aiden? Congratulations. Ryan. And Aiden. And thank you very much. It's our pleasure to be able to do this, and you do a great job, and we're all very pleased to see how successful you've been. Excellent. Thank you so much for coming. We have another presentation to make this evening, and I'm going to read an email which set this in motion. And I told the story before. I got this email over the summer, and from a resident in town, telling me about his neighbor. A wonderful story about an 11-year-old boy, a Boy Scout. I'm proud to call my neighbor Christopher Hums. Each day, Christopher Hums takes the paper that is delivered and places it in front of the door of each of his neighbor's home on the block, regardless of weather conditions. Yesterday, Christopher noticed a neighbor across the street from his home had papers from Sunday that were not taken inside the home. Christopher alerted his parents, who reached out to the proper authorities to find out the lady had fallen in the house and had been on the floor for at least 24 hours. At that point, the woman was in Hackensack Hospital recovering, and he said her chances, in his opinion, to live due to Christopher's kindness to his neighbors and common sense to know the possible danger when the papers were not brought in the home. I said before, this is not just your normal good deed. It's somebody who was living their life doing, as the Scouts would say, do a good turn daily, or however you want to put it. But he also was able to recognize that there was an issue, and was confident and obviously schooled enough to know that he should bring this matter to somebody's attention, which he did. And we were more than proud to have to, or want to recognize someone like that. And speaking of myself, and I talked to the council previous to this, was that in a case like this, and we've had situations like this over the years, to me a certificate just wasn't necessarily sufficient. So I worked with Judy O'Connell, our clerk, and Stephanie. And Christopher, if you and your parents want to come up. And I'm glad to see you have such great support here today from other school children and your teachers. I created what we're going to call the You Inspire Award, and you are our first recipient. So we have a crystal paperweight presented to Christopher Hums, You Inspire, capital R-E with an exclamation point, and it's presented by the Mayor, 2016. So Christopher, we're proud of you. Congratulations. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're a tremendous asset to the club. So the council, they haven't seen this either. No, sure. Christopher?
Picture, or do you want to say something first?
Yes.
Tony Delacour.
Thank you, Mayor Mignon and the River Edge Council for this great honor. I'm very happy that my neighbor is feeling better. I want to thank my grandmama, my family, friends, and neighbors who came here tonight to support me. You are all awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. Hopefully something you'll be able to use and keep.
Thank you.
And not a plaque that'll go in a closet. Now we have some exciting personnel and appointments you want to hear them, or you all can feel free to leave before we actually get into the business of the meeting.
He's actually encouraging you to be free of this.
We're allowing you to go. Enjoy.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know. I don't think I would want to was.
Is it possible to get the picture together with everyone?
Sure.
Really? We get to volunteer to be demonstrated?
Oh, really? You don't want that help.
Come in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, can I have a motion to open for public comments on any item on the agenda, please? All in favor?
Aye.
Second chance. One more comment.
Just any comment.
No? All right, can I have a motion to close, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Appointment of personnel changes. Can I have a motion, please, to approve the salary increase of Felice Rappaport, crossing guard, from step 2 hourly rate of $18.41 to step 3, $19.39, effective October 28, 2016.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the salary increase for Adrian Capasso, construction code clerk, from an hourly step 1 rate of $19.18 to step 2, $20.23, effective October 20, 2016.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the salary increase for Stephanie Evans, Borough Clerk, from step 2 salary of $62,072 to step 3, $65,339, effective October 28, 2016.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Please have a motion to approve the satisfactory completion of the 6-month probationary period for Carol Byrne, Records Clerk, effective August 17, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? A motion, please, to approve the satisfactory completion of the 6-month probationary period for Matthew Jung, part-time police dispatcher, effective August 17, 2016.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the salary of Kenneth Morse, tree trimmer 2, in the Department of Public Works from an annual step 4 salary of $58,938 to step 5, $60,179, and an increase in longevity from $480 to $960 effective November 5th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? A motion to approve the separation of Mary Jane Branda, recording secretary for the Planning and Zoning Boards, effective September 12th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? A motion to approve the salary increase of Jason DeCarlo, laborer 2, in the Department of Public Works, from an annual step 2 salary of $42,148 to step 3, $42,636, effective November 5th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And lastly, approve the salary increase of Thomas Decker, laborer 2, in the Department of Public Works, at an annual step 4 salary of $43,123 to step 5, $43,609, effective November 26, 2016.
So
No.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There's various correspondence on file with the Borough Clerk. It's listed in the agenda. If anybody wants a copy, just go to the clerk's office. And we also have on file monthly reports, the Board of Health from September 2016, the Library Board, October 2016, and the Tax Collector from September 2016. There are no ordinances for first reading this evening, and there are no ordinances for second reading this evening. We have resolutions by consent, 16-374 to 16-385. Any member of council like for separate vote or consideration or discussion, any of those? Yes, Councilwoman?
Are we gonna pull out 16-384 to amend that, or was that already done? That's the newer.
5,138.59.
So we'll have to, yeah, we'll pull that one.
Otherwise, I would, move to make a motion for all the.
For a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then, for 16-384, change order number 1, approval, in the amount of, what's the amount?
$5,138.59.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Who's alternate for finance tonight?
You gotta read the.
You want to read and move?
Oh, where is it?
It's in the pen.
She's the very last one.
It's last page.
The last page.
386.
Last white page.
Last page. Got it. I signed them all. Whereas, read the whole thing?
Yep.
Whereas vouchers for the payment of goods and services rendered to the Borough of River Edge have been received, and whereas each bill has been checked by the receiving department, approved by the Chief Financial Officer and Borough Clerk, and reviewed by 3 members of the Finance Committee. Now therefore be it resolved that bills are listed, now confirmed for payment from the appropriate funds as follows. Current account, $452,751.85. Capital account, $48,905.06. Recreation account, $324.96. Animal welfare account, $2.40. Self-insurance account, $2,800. Trust other account, $11,583.48. Open space account, $7,327.50. Trust other developers account, $17,344.32. Be it further resolved that claims read and approved by the governing body at the council meeting will be dated the day after the reading of these claims and will appear on the following bill list at the next public meeting of the mayor and council, at which time claims would be paid.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Right. Maybe third time's a charm. Have a motion open the hearing to the public, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Third bite. No? All right. Motion to close, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Council comments, Councilman Murphy?
You gotta read it beside there. I just wanted to, again, send my condolences to the family of Kevin Wright. He was the heart and soul of Newbridge Landing, and I do hope we can continue to support his mission of getting a museum there and the funding. And I would like to thank everyone that came out on October 8th for the Triborough River cleanup with the Hackensack Riverkeeper. It was coordinated with River Edge, Oradell, and New Milford, and they gathered a lot of trash on that day, and thank you to all that helped. And that is all for tonight.
Councilman Davis.
The Green Team received bronze level sustainable New Jersey certification, and they will be recognized at the luncheon on 11/15 in Atlantic City for New Jersey League of Municipalities. The farmers market will go another week with 80-degree temperatures expected. They're on board. River Edge Day was a great event, nice turnout, good weather. The seniors said that meetings will start up again in November after the Jewish holidays. There's other Jewish holidays evidently. I'm not aware of that. Yeah, that continues, so they're not there. That's it.
Councilman Papalau?
Thank you, Mayor. Beautification canceled its meeting this month, though they were hard at work. They're currently at all of our decorative lamp posts up and down Kindermack Main Street, putting stalks in the decoration, and so I want to thank them for that. They also have been working with DPW for our lighting and marking the different lights for different poles for different lights, so that we'll have some winter lighting from about Thanksgiving through January. So they're doing a great job with that. The next meeting is November 10th. Fire Department, let me switch, please. Wait a moment. Last week, two members of River Edge Volunteer Fire Company number 2 were involved in 2 events that reflect their service and commitment to those in need. Lieutenant Brian Coleman, I always say his name a little bit wrong, I hope I said it right this time, drove in a demolition derby on Saturday to raise funds for 2 young girls who are suffering from cancer in Walton, New York, where his family has a farm. He purchased the car and paid for all the safety features out of his own pocket, and his family and friends formed a pit crew. As of this date, the derby has raised over $20,000 to help families dealing with this expense. Also, last Tuesday, former fire chief Dave Stuckey was in a deli in Hallworth ordering breakfast when a man on line behind him suddenly collapsed. Dave Stuckey, using his first responder training, immediately took over the scene and administered medical attention to the victim until the police and EMS arrived. When he was congratulated by Assistant Chief George O'Connell, Dave, being Dave, just shrugged it off and said it's all part of the job. And so this reflects the attitude and the commitment of our firefighters to people in need all through our state. I'm hoping that we might be able to do a letter recommendation or commendation from the council for these acts of extraordinary good deeds and continuing their mission as firefighters beyond the borough. That's pretty much all I have, other than say we will miss Kevin. He was a great man. He was passionate. It was wonderful to watch him talk about the historical preservation of our town and its role in our history, New Jersey's history, our country's history. He certainly lit up whenever he talked about it and committed for it, and our heart goes out to his family as a longtime committed borough servant, and so, well wishes.
Councilman Barlow?
Thank you, Mayor. I just also want to join in my condolences to the family of Kevin Wright. It is, it's a tragedy, and I feel badly for them. On a brighter note, River Edge Day, I thought was successful. All the cake went. It was nice to, though, to say thank you to all the volunteers, and I hope they, appreciate the small gesture, but it is our way of just thanking them publicly for all the good works that they do in town. Beyond that, also just to the DPW, they did a fantastic job cleaning up the park ahead of time, and that's it.
Yeah, I'll just echo everybody's comments on River Edge Day. Again, it was a very well attended after all. It seemed like it was a little slow in the start, but it certainly got very busy toward the middle part of the day, and it was great to see a good turnout, and a lot of new residents came over and were talking, and so it's good to see that they want to be involved in finding out all the different organizations and groups we have to offer. Congratulations to Bonnie Stewart and the Green Team for getting that recertification. I helped a little, and she had some other help, but she did the yeoman's task of getting it done. It's a onerous and a cumbersome process, I know, because I do it for the Borough of Fort Lee, and at least I'm on staff, and she does this as a volunteer. And the amount of paperwork, and the amount of write-up you have to do, and documentation, and back and forth to get the certification, it's no small task, and she deserves a lot of credit for seeing that through. So we appreciate it. And I said, oh, you have a break of 3 more years. And she's like, I don't know if I can do it again. And I'm like, well, hopefully we'll get, some more enthusiastic members on that Green Team and keep it going forward. I was at taking classes for becoming a recycling professional, and we were at a facility, and the person who runs it is actually also on the board for Sustainable Jersey. So he was telling us about a number of new initiatives and actions, as they call them, under the program with regard to recycling. And there's some stuff I think that would be very good for us to start implementing to try to get up our recycling rate a little bit. Truth be told, the biggest component of municipal solid waste that no one has a handle on is food waste. And that's something that new technologies are being developed, either waste energy. They're even talking about some pilot programs at treatment plants using sludge digesters now to take this food waste. But that accounts for about 25% of our solid waste load, municipal solid waste load. And so there'll be some actions regarding that. And also with regard to recycling right, that seems to be the new mantra, because people think just because it's plastic you can recycle it, just because it's aluminum you can recycle it, and a lot of times things that people may have good intentions recycling actually wind up costing money in terms of not being able to be sorted properly or causing contamination in the recycle stream or other issues. So hopefully going forward we'll have a lot more of a rededication to public education in terms of recycling, because it only winds up saving us money in the long run. I also wanted to extend my congratulations and accolades to Lieutenant, was it Corman?
Yeah.
And to former Chief Stuckey. We certainly will be arranging for presentations for them. And then lastly, just finish again with Kevin Wright. I mean, I guess I'm just a little shocked. Because I knew Kevin over the years, but just since I've become mayor, I've worked with him a lot more regarding issues down at Newbridge Landing. And I guess just 2 weeks ago, I was asked to go down and be the host as the host mayor for the naturalization ceremony they do down there every year, where I think I mentioned last time we had 23 new citizens become U.S. citizens that day. And Kevin was, as usual, was the featured speaker. And he was one of those things where, you go to put the video on and you don't hit the button. And I wish I had, and I said this yesterday, I wish I had somebody that recorded that speech. It was probably his last public presentation. And he, again, his typical off the cuff. It ranged from Indian lore to history to his own family and you just sat there and listened, and he always held you. He was such a compelling speaker, and he said he was tired that day, but he sat there and he got through it, and it was wonderful. If that was his last public speech, it was certainly worthy and typical of him. I had heard some stories yesterday at the memorial service. I think it might have been his brother we said, you know, Kevin was somebody who thought for the ages, really somebody who didn't think about the here and now. He actually was projecting thoughts into the future, and I think that's something he will be remembered for. And I always tell a personal story that the first time I met him, I think was it was down Newbridge, and I had brought my son down, and I was on the council, but he didn't really know me, I didn't know him, and unfortunately, it was one of those days where there may have been just a few people milling about the site, but we go into the Steuben house, and Kevin was sitting in the chair, and my son Edward at the time, who still does, he's prone to ask a lot of questions, and every question he had, Kevin had an answer. You can roll your eyes when I'm trying to tell something nice here.
I'm not
Sorry.
rolling your eyes, Ed. I'm listening intently. It's a great
And
story.
he said to us, "Do you have time?" And I said, my son said, "Yes." He said, "So come upstairs." So we go up to the room where George Washington apparently stayed, and he goes into this cubby, and he comes out and brings out a box of things. And he said, "Well, you know, I can't guarantee, but you know, there's no documentation, but, you know, I believe that these may belong to President Washington or sometime." He let my son hold stuff, and he was telling us stories, and I said yesterday, I said, you would have thought George Washington was going to walk in the room, because he just made it that compelling. And, you know, that's a gift, and I said his passion, his vision for what he saw down there, I think, you know, hopefully he'll get it, you know, we'll get it to where he thought we should be. And I know I told him through several meetings when, you know, he knew he was sick, that, you know, Kevin, we'll get through this, and we're gonna get to where you want it to be. And it's just unfortunate that we didn't get to those concrete steps, but he knows that the museum is moving forward. He knows that other things are moving forward. And it said, you know, you can count on me and the members of the council to support this endeavor, because it's, you know, it's important to the borough, and it's something I think we all fully support. And like I said, we will meet with the Historic Newbridge Landing Commission, our own commission, and find out how we should remember Kevin and what's the most appropriate way to do it. And I guess that's it. Do I have something else, but I don't remember? I guess if I do, I'll remember it next time. Anyway, with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.